YouTube, there is no firearms in this video.
Welcome back to the Airgunner YouTube channel. In this episode, we will be unboxing the NateChrony V2.0. This is a muzzle attached chronograph that is pretty affordable due to some features that we will go over in this video. Quick note, it just released the version 2.5, which is compatible with the steady shot / movement detecting feature, and this one will be a little bit more expensive. So if you do want to get this, there's not many left, so do it. So like I said, this one is the version 2.0. The 2.5 is a little bit better, a bit more advanced, but this one should do about the same if you only need velocity and stuff. This is the one that we will go over. This one is black aluminum. It has some 3D printed options and stuff also. By the way, it does mention on this side that it uses only A2 or 304 stainless steel grade screws, so they don't rust. Whatever that means, he cares about his products. Before we go over what's in the box, I want to mention that this is proudly made in Australia, and his site is pretty helpful if you need information, if you have more questions after this video. It seems to say that it came from New Zealand right there on the box, and I'm from Canada. There was no issues with that. It seems to say that it will ship about anywhere from a store. Now let's go over what is included. This is the chronograph, the thing that you pop on the end of your rifle, as it says on his site. Basically, this is the black aluminum casing option. It says NateChrony on both sides. It is some pretty nice engravings, and it also says Australian made and owned. So here you have the USB-C port. Basically, this does not have a battery inside. You will need to power it either with a power bank or with your phone or computer that you are using to use the display, because this does not have an actual display on it. This is two things that keep it very affordable. Basically, it says that you need a device that can connect to a Wi-Fi hotspot that does not have internet access. So it is not really an internet access. So if your device keeps disconnecting from those hotspots that does not have internet, that might create glitches. I did try it on 2 Android phones and it was working very well on both of them. I still did not try on my computer, but I assume that this will work. It seemed to say that most of the issues will be for iPhone users, either for the power bank or for the auto disconnecting hotspot thingy, because there is no actual internet access. On the chronograph, it is a web page. I don't know how that works, okay? But to make it short, you don't actually need to have internet to use the chronograph. It is only a way for the chronograph to transmit the data to your phone / display. By the way, interesting note, you can log in up to 7 clients on this chronograph, so you could display that on multiple displays if you want to. It does recommend maximum 3 for better speeds and stuff, but you can display that on multiple screens if you need to. Quick recap, this one has the aluminum casing and a few 3D printed parts. It does have the USB-C for the battery because it is not integrated, and it will not go bad because you can power it with anything you want. It also does not have a display because you have a HD phone in your pockets to do that. To be honest, a display on your muzzle will be kind of annoying to look at anyways. And also your phone has speakers, so it will do voice readouts. You don't get an actual app, but you do get a web page that will do about the same, and that will be as easy to access if you make a shortcut on your home page, basically. At first, I thought that this might be a bit complicated to use, but it was really not. You don't need internet and stuff. It will work with about any device that has a screen and can go on internet, so that's pretty handy. By the way, it does mention that it is in compliance with global data protection standards such as GDPR, whatever that means, okay, if you're scared about that. That was a lot of talking, but I've tried giving as much info on the chronograph while I had the chronograph in my hands instead of making this only about unboxing the thing, okay? In the box, you do get the cable. It is a USB-C with a 90-degree angle, so you can plug it on the side like that and maybe mount your battery pack onto your rifle. You also do get this USB adapter, which I believe is to be used on a computer and stuff like that. There is already one mounted on there, but you get two 12x20 adapters. This one is a little bit slimmer, so you can fit it on maybe bullpups and stuff. You need around 6 to 7 millimeters of clearance, I believe he says on this side. So if you do have around 6 or 7 millimeters of clearance, this should work. He does have a few other barrel clamps options that he's working with right now, so make sure to check that out. Even if you don't have threads, there could be an option that works for you. If you do need to swap the adapter or to clean it, he does show how to do that on his YouTube channel and on his site. It does provide a lot of info on his products. You have the included basically Phillips bit to do that. You will remove that screw to swap the adapters, and I'm not sure how you do to clean it. I've not done that yet. I've not even shot through it. We will do that today together. And you also get a 3D printed test pellet. It does mention to use a 30 caliber or bigger if you do lose this one, if you want to do the test, because it works better, I guess. This chronograph should work on about any airgun that you can attach it to, up to 50 caliber, and also from 1 to 2500 FPS. He does recommend a 150 FPE maximum for the chronograph itself, and also he does not recommend using it with CO2 airguns because they can make some muzzle blasts that will basically trip the sensors, so it is not really recommended. It might work if you don't have a lot of CO2 coming out of your barrel. I did not try that yet. I might try it, but often it does not work with other chronographs. The only downside for this one compared to other chronographs is that this one will be attached to your barrel, so you cannot move back to shoot through it and not get the CO2 blast. But other than that, this should be very handy for something like the FX, the Jet, or my Crossman's right there. I just said my Crossman's right there, but one of them is CO2, but you know. Before we test it real quick, I do want to mention that it has a 3-year warranty. He says that it has been designed to last a lot longer. If your NateChrony ever fails, reach out and let us know. We will work to make it right. So he does care about his product and customer. As you can see, this USB-C port is exposed. It is not waterproof. It is also not really weatherproof. If you leave it in the sun for a long time, the plastic parts will end up drying, might end up cracking. So be careful about that. You can use it in the sun, just don't store it in the sun maybe, or just be careful with that. Alright, so now let's try it for the first time together. I did try the app a little bit to get familiar with it, but I did not try it on an actual airgun and stuff, so yeah. So like we said earlier, there is no batteries inside of it, so you will need to plug it inside of your phone or inside of a battery pack or something like that. Then you will go into your internet settings on the device you are using, and you will find the chronograph into the Wi-Fi hotspots. The name of this one is Chrony with 4 digits after that. It does say that it is connected, but it has no internet access, so it is important that your device can connect to some Wi-Fi hotspots that does not have actual internet access. After that, you can open the web page. Basically, you could type in NateChrony. This is on the newer versions. I believe that my version does not do that just yet. I will do an update later. I did not want to do that today basically, and I believe that Nate will make a new video on how to do that soon. You can also type in this IP address into the web browser, but I'm too lazy, so I will use his QR codes. This one is for what we're looking for, and this one is for his website on how to use it. Just by looking at the picture, my phone will open the right page, and it is already on the chronograph basically. I will try to screen record what I'm doing to make this easier, and hopefully it works. But yeah, you land on this page. There will be a few shot strings that you can save for different rifles and stuff. We will take a better look at that later when we actually shoot a few pellets. But there is also a few other pages. I'm not sure, I believe that's where we were at. There is a graph for your current shot string that is pretty cool. There is a setup page. This is where you insert your pellet weight and stuff like that. to be able to get the energy in the other page. You can also adjust the speed to match it with another chronograph, but its chronographs are calibrated with a master chronograph, and you should not need to do that. I believe that this just on top is to make the software updates, but I did not try that yet, so I will talk about that more later. We might just do the update together. This is also where you will choose if you do want the voice readings and stuff. And now let's finish to go over this page backwards. The comment is to take a note basically on your shot string if you're trying to save it for later and stuff. I believe it does show up on the shoot page, so I did not put a comment, so that's not helping me. For example, I will put in 1377 and press set, so this should appear on the data sheet, and I will enter 7.4 grain because this is the pellets that I will be using. If we go back on the shoot page, it will show description 1377, and it now shows 7.4 grains instead of 15.9 like I had entered the last time. The next page on the menu will be the Wi-Fi setup. You can basically connect to a Wi-Fi and transfer data. I did not try that. I believe that just screenshotting or copying the spreadsheet to an actual notepad is simpler to me, but you can do that. I believe that you might need to do that for the updates too, so just so you know. You can also set a password for the chronograph so they cannot log into it. Like I said before, you can connect up to 7 people to the chronograph and it will still work. They do recommend only about 3, but you can put a password to prevent random people from accessing it. Now let's go back to the menu page. We now have the mini shoot. Basically this shows the last shot that you took, and that's about it. That's a simpler page to look at if you only care about the last shot. Next will be the shoot data page. Basically this is where you will extract your data from if you need to. This could be a bit clearer. I don't know how. I don't have any suggestion just yet, but it does listen to customers. So if you do have some suggestions on how to put that so it is clearer for all of the shot strings, you will take suggestions. Last will be the help page. Basically it has a lot of info on there, so you don't have to look up on internet if you don't have access to internet, but it also has a lot of info on his site and YouTube channel if you do need help. I assume that it will answer you pretty fast if you need help also. He seems to be a good guy. Alright, we are now back on the main page. I will stop the screen record before it causes it to not work. Hopefully that did work. In fact, I will clear slot number 3 because it is only confusing, and do a screenshot of that so we can use it as a reference. By the way, if you want to access this web page very easily and not have to look for it each time, you can go into your internet browser settings and click on add to home page. That will make a shortcut for it basically. Now all you gotta do is click on your shortcut and it will open the right web page. The main page is pretty nice looking. It does the same as any other app, at least most of them. So you do save some cost and you still have all of the information that you need. So that's pretty nice to me. It also sounded more complicated than it really was. So I hope that showing it to you made it look less complicated. On this version of the app, you have 4 slots to save your data. It does recommend that you only keep it at around 200 shots per shot string saved, and you can go up to 700 shots. That's what it recommends. You can record more than 1,000 shots, but it will slow down the app at one point, even though it is not an app. This is the point. This is transferring data to that. So at one point, if there is too much data, it will slow down a little bit, but you can record a lot of shots before having to back up at home or whatever. If you really want to shoot more, you can extract the data with this feature made for that, or just screenshot or copy the text. I assume that you can copy the text on there. Yeah, you can. So that's very easy to back up if you really want to shoot more than 1,000 shots. per session. Also, this is the basic version of the app. The steady shot as the used to be airsoft version. This one will record around 12 to 14 shots per second, which is already not too bad, but the steady shot version will record up to 1250 shots per second at 1000 FPS. So yeah, if you do need a lot of fast shooting and do want the motion detecting sensor, the steady shot will be the best for you. Alright, so enough rambling. It does mention to test it before you actually use it, so I will try to do that, but I'm not too good at dropping pellets in there. I did not do it right. I got 4 FPS, so I believe that's a success. You just don't want to get under 1 FPS. This means that it did not work. So this should be faster, not really. I will try with this 30 caliber JSB pellets just for fun. About the same speed, which is interesting. I don't know if this one did record. No, we got an error. I think it is rebooting. We got a LED under there basically to show you what is happening. So I got an error with this pellet. Alright, so very interesting fact that we are discovering together. If it does reboot and your internet will not reconnect automatically, it will not show the next few shots and you might think it is not working, but it still will record the shots even though it is not displaying them. So I wonder if you're not connected to that, if you can use a power bank and not really use a display at all but still get the web page to record. So that will be interesting, but yeah, it does seem to work. We did get numbers higher than 1 FPS, so we can now attach it to a airgun. So what we got right here is a custom Crossman 1377 with a BuckRail 1/2x20 adapter and a Spears Custom Parts muzzle brake that I'm removing right now to put the chronograph on. By the way, BuckRail is working in collaboration with NateChrony for a BuckChrony, so look that up if you're interested by that. I believe that it uses collets and stuff, so you don't really need adapters, or maybe look it up. Alright, so it is my first time using it, so you might want to unplug the cable before you do that because that will not be fun. That's what I will do anyways. He does recommend that you use it with at least 10 millimeters of threads. That will keep it more secure and stuff, so just so you know. He also does mention that it should get a bit tighter to screw on after about 7 millimeters, and that's normal. So yeah, once it does get tight, maybe just stop. At least that's what I did. So the supplied cable is a little bit short for what I want to do right now, so I will try with this one. I'm not sure it will work, but I assume it will. Alright, so in theory I should be able to clear shots for the test string, and now to pump this up to be able to take a test shot, I will be shooting into this pellet trap. In theory we should have the velocity and voice reading. Safety. I don't know if I have the volume on, and we did not get the readings. Alright, so on the first shot I had a bit of an issue with the chronograph disconnecting because of my internet taking over with the auto connect. They do tell me that there is an option to stay connected anyway, so I will check that and do that again, and hopefully it will work now. To make it short, if you do get a pop-up telling you to look at options for the Chrony network, do click on it instead of ignoring it like I did at the beginning. In theory that should work now. I will not press on clear shots because if it is working it will clear shots, but yeah, I will also put the volume up this time so we can get the voice readings. Actually, my cable might be the problem. It did disconnect again, but I don't really know if that's because of my cable not providing the battery and then causing it to disconnect, and it was not really my Wi-Fi taking over. So if you have a bad cable, it can cause issues. I was not getting the voice readings, so I just went and unchecked it and checked it again. It seems to talk now, so I might get the readings. By the way, everything that I'm doing goes wrong, so this is perfect for the average viewer to know what not to do and how to fix their issues.
443.
What the f? I'm not sure if this one was missing a pump or if I will need to fix my 1377 again, but that was weird.
436.
Did this thing break again? Everything that I do goes wrong, for real.
501.
Oh, so I'm not too sure of what was happening there, but we might be back on track. I'm not sure if the chronograph would have told me that the confidence level was high or not, because the new update does show you a confidence level. It goes with the alignments and stuff, so that can help you know if it was an error or not.
500.
By the way, I took this thing apart not too long ago to change the pump cup, so I'm not too confident about the airgun too, so yeah.
496.
I almost gave it an extra pump on this one, so let's see if that did anything.
496. 495.
It seems to be getting very consistent. We now got 10 shots. I will stop there because this is not a velocity test for my 1377, but it does seem to be getting very consistent. I did have to fix it not too long ago, so I was hoping it will be. It seems to be very well tuned for the Canadian market also, so that's another good thing. I'm not sure if the two shots that did record about the same was from the airgun, but it kind of sounds like it. I will update my software for the new version because the confidence score thingy that it just implemented does sound very nice. You could shoot up to 200 shots, maybe more, and then save it in one of those slots. We will save it in the slot number 1 for now. And she said that. I said before that it will show only 15 shots on there, but I'm not sure about that. Maybe there was only 15 shots on the string to begin with. I will give you more info about that in future videos. At the end of the day, this works just like an app. You do have all of your information that you need to know right there, so that's very nice. We add a spread of 65 on those two shots, so that's not really great. I'm hoping that it will stop doing that. I just changed the pump cup. I don't know. One thing that I might upgrade is getting either a power bank that I can strap onto my rifles, or either get a longer cable, but you can bang that, and if it does disconnect, it is kind of annoying. On my phone, I do need to log back to the Wi-Fi, so just so you know. Other than that, this kind of chronograph should be really handy, so you can shoot and not care about aiming through something and then get your results. I'm just rambling at this point, so let's take a quick look at the menu to go onto the shoot data page. So now we got our numbers for this shot string. You do get a lot of information in this shoot data page, but it could be a bit clearer, maybe separate the strings with some lines and stuff like that. But all of your information is there to be downloaded or screenshot or copied or whatever. This will be about it for today. That was a lot of rambling. Hope you guys learned something. I'm very excited to try this chronograph, both to check if my 1377 pump cup is doing good and to test the FX Drs that we will be reviewing soon. I did have two other kinds of chronograph, but I did not have a barrel mounted one, which makes things a lot easier. You don't have to line up and stuff, so that will make my life simpler. Make sure to check out NateChrony if you need a chronograph like this one, and BuckChrony accessories if you need something else, like something to mount a chronograph onto a Crossman. As always, a huge thank you to you for watching until the end. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more, and I will see y'all in the next one.